Ambrus, it's going to be a game changer for the entire industry. India, South Asia, Middle East, Africa, 3.5 billion population there, 2.5 billion phones, and no one designed games for these guys.
A lot of the Web3 gaming efforts are going after that high-value customer. But you, from the get-go, said, I want to bring this to the masses.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us to tap into those markets. Ambrus is a mission-driven gaming ecosystem that is designed to be the bridge between Web 2 to Web 3. It can take 100 million users from Web 2 and make them integrate into Web 3 seamlessly. If you have a very fun game that's free to play and your friends are playing it, you're going to play it too. That's the first part of the formula. The second part of the formula is also how to make my average revenue per user higher. And it's by selling emotional attachment. We sell aesthetics, we sell skins. What we're selling now is people's emotional attachment to how unique this can be.
Now there's something that makes you extremely different from anybody I've ever spoken to. You walked away from the dream job for probably every gamer in the world. And for you, that wasn't enough. I feel like for you, you wanted to do something to impact the world.
With Web3, I realized that it gives me a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be the first mover that can really change people's lives. But essentially going back to what Ambrus stands for, right? We're here to transform the entire industry, and we're just, in the first step of that movement.
How do you get out of a rat race? How do you create wealth not only for yourself, but also for the generations to come after?
I am absolutely amazed with the quality of companies that we're getting exposure to.
We go on to Zoom calls with the innovators and the folks who are building new applications in metaverse, blockchain, artificial intelligence, decentralized finance.
What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me.
We are focusing on early stage investment.
And the quality of people that we're getting exposure to, whether it be Dan Tapiero with 1RT, Jason Ma from Open, Yatsu from Animoca.
It's been a phenomenal experience thus far. It has far exceeded my expectations.
We are focusing on cutting edge technologies.
I view it now as the best investment I've ever made. The upside I view is unlimited.
And as a retail investor, I would never get this exposure anywhere else outside of Investment Club.
See you in the Investment Club.
The world is changing. Inspiration is everywhere. It has never been so easy to connect, share, and bring people together. We're learning from others and finding the best in ourselves. Challenging our beliefs, sharing our vulnerability, overcoming our fears, transforming ourselves so we can transform the world. How far can we go?
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is...
This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Johnson Ye, the esports pioneer, Web3 gaming expert, and blockchain entrepreneur. You are the founder and CEO of Ambrus Studio, a pioneering game development company with the mission to build the first great Web3 game. Ambrus Studio is the home of E4C, a metaverse ecosystem that serves as a bridge between Web 2 and Web 3 with the goal of onboarding the next 100 million players into the world of blockchain gaming. You are the former CEO of Riot Games in Asia, where you earned the title the Godfather of Esports. Under your leadership, the League of Legends Pro League became the most viewed and commercially successful esports league in the world. Your ultimate mission is to use gaming as a platform to raise awareness about climate change and inspire players to take responsibility for protecting the environment. You believe 2025 will be the year that Web3 gaming finally goes mainstream, creating opportunity to redefine player experience and expand the impact of the gaming industry. Johnson, welcome to London Real in Dubai.
Well, that was a great intro. Thank you so much, Brian, for having me here.
Look, it's great to have you here, and I want to start by saying that Ambrus Studio is one of our portfolio companies here at London Real Ventures, the world's first media-powered investment firm, where our mission is to transform the world by investing in cutting-edge Web3 and AI companies while giving our partners marketing exposure across the London Real media platforms and academies. We heighten awareness, create customers, and build communities by leveraging our global audience and extensive network. Johnson, we are super excited to be part of this journey with you, so let's jump in. What is Ambrus Studio?
All right. Thank you, Brian. Ambrus stands for immortal in Greek. Our goal is to build a gaming ecosystem that can last a really long time. So we have our marquee title and our tokens called E4C. So everything in the gaming ecosystem that we're building surrounds E4C. E4C actually, now that you talk about our vision, stands for Earth 4 degrees Celsius. It stands for our commitment to leverage gaming to help the world on the issue of climate change. In fact, in 10 years ago, we're doing slightly better now, but we are on track to increase our temperature by 4 degrees on this planet by the year 2100, which means that if we don't do something, there'll be so many negative consequences. And I'm here to take the E4C gaming ecosystem to help change that. So the name has a real, let's say, deep meaning behind it. Now, what's in our ecosystem? It is a gaming ecosystem built on Sui. Our marquee title, E4C Final Salvation, is a free-to-play, not pay for power, mobile MOBA game that is designed to be the bridge between Web 2 to Web 3, can take 100 million users from Web 2 and make them integrate into Web 3 seamlessly. I can talk a lot more about it, but our ecosystem is not just E4C Final Salvation. That is the first title that we think will have commercial success. But now we're also complementing this ecosystem with a gaming publishing platform, a multi-platform gaming layer built in collaboration with Mysten Labs, the original founders of the Sui blockchain. So it is a Steam powered by Sui. And then it is going to be a place where Web3 people can find fun games. It's not necessarily play to earn, but they can enjoy games for fun on this game publishing platform. And we have many, many more exciting plans like AI agents and stuff. We'll talk about that later. But essentially going back to what Ambrus stands for, right? It is a mission-driven studio that aims to transform Web3 by being the bridge from Web 2 to Web 3 and can bring hundreds of millions of users from Web 2 to Web 3. And the way we do it is not by offering play to earn, it's by leveraging the power of Web3, which is the blockchain technology, which is the power of community, solve gaming industry problems, and make Web3 unique in the overall gaming industry. And that's what we do. And that's what Final Salvation does. We're here to transform the entire industry, and we're just, in the first step of that movement.
What I find fascinating about you, Johnson, is that you walked away from the dream job for probably every gamer in the world. What you were doing, the work you were accomplishing, it really is the pinnacle. And for you, that wasn't enough. I feel like for you, you wanted to do something to impact the world, and that's why you're doing this with this specific play. Why did you walk away from something like that?
Wow, that's a very good question. I actually first started thinking about leaving Riot in 2018. That was a moment where I actually had a super, super lucrative offer from a competing studio. It's the first time I ever thought about leaving Riot. I was having such a wonderful ride. I was so flattered by the number of that. But then when I touched deep into my heart in what I want to do with my life, I realized that it's not money. It is doing things that I'm passionate about. I've had 3 passions in life. First, climate change. Second, entrepreneurship and innovation. Third, I really want to build a strong 2C brand. based out of China, especially from Taiwan, where I'm originally from. So I really want to do something that can make the world a better place. And I realized that whether it's my job in Riot or that lucrative offer, I can't do all three. So I did a month of soul search, talked to all the people around me, and I realized that what really touched my heart is being able to do some things that I'm passionate about, something that can touch all three of my passions. So I decided to leave Riot at that time and start actually my previous startup, which actually eventually morphed into Ambrus. So Ambrus, right? Gaming, Web3, climate change, innovation, and then really building a strong consumer brand. We have all of it. So essentially you can say Ambrus is the realization of my passion and my dreams.
That's powerful, very powerful. Why Web3? Because you're immersed in Web2. We don't see a lot of Web2 people jump into Web3, especially at this point. They're eyeing it right now, but it always probably felt too early for them to jump. Why did you go all in on this tech? Because I doubt you were using blockchain at Riot.
No, we were not. I first found out about it because at that time, it's 2021. Was still part of the previous bull cycle. Valuations were crazy. I'm like, oh my God, I need to understand more about this world. And the more I understand about it, the more amazed I was by it. I realized that Web3, blockchain technology, and just the way Web3 society and community run things is pioneering. It can change the world for sure. In fact, I really think that and this is a slight of a side topic, but I personally think that the only thing that can replace US dollar as a global currency is Bitcoin or some decentralized coin. It could be 150 years from now, it doesn't matter. But that's the only thing that can possibly replace it. Now, going back to the question, so yes, I wasn't using any blockchain technology in Riot, but I learned about it and I was like, oh my God, it's going to change the future because blockchain technology allows stronger emotional attachment. It adds uniqueness, and then the fact that you can verify everything, the fact that you can have trust for a startup like us. I realized that that's so powerful. It increases the ARPU, average revenue per user, for the skins that we sell. And Web3, co-creation, governance, building with your community. It helps with virality. It helps us with user acquisition and lower our customer acquisition costs. And I realized this is golden. If I were to build a mobile MOBA game as a small studio, the chance of that succeeding if I were not in Web3 is very low. But now I have Web3, I have the entire community by my side if I were to do it right. Then I realize I have a chance. It's like a David versus Goliath fight, but Web3 helped me achieve that. Web3 solves gaming industry problems that traditional gaming cannot solve. And we can dive deep down into that a lot more. But that's why I'm in Web3. I realized that it's going to be a game changer for the entire gaming industry.
I had a guest recently that said we're going from the internet of information, and blockchain represents the internet of ownership. It's a very powerful concept. And I think people that are new to crypto, they just see these tokens going up in price and they think it's a way to make money. But when you go deep on this, and I've had a lot of deep discussions with Yatsu of Animoca Brands, and it's a philosophical change. It's a human shift paradigm change where there's ownership for the first time. Not only ownership of the digital assets, which you don't have in the Web2 world, but also ownership of the protocol itself. So if people go now and buy some E4C, like you said, when the protocol does well, they do well, and they get to be involved in the governance. Is that what you think builds those great communities in Web3? Is it the ownership layer, or is that just one of the factors?
It's one of the factors. I think ownership is a great way for incentivization of people to support you. And that's the spirit of Web3. But it's not just that, right? Web3 has so many other things that can really help, gaming industry, or just even any industry. Look at, for example, what's happening now in Deepin. Things that used to take Google like 10 years to do. Now with community driven, you can do it in a few months. So I truly believe in the power of Web3 because it is a great way to incentivize people to change the individual behaviors and leverage the entire world, the entire community for you to help you do things. And I think that's that's the magic of Web3, and that's what we're here to leverage to change the gaming world. I mean, we are here, right, building a mobile game that is otherwise super, super expensive to acquire users. But now we leverage Web3, we leverage a community. We realize that we can make it go viral. People will refer their friend to play the game, and then we can lower our customer acquisition cost by so much with the magic of Web3.
Yeah, we've invested in another Web3 game called Shrapnel, a completely different model, people from the States. But I was sitting down with their CEO and he said, Brian, he said, this is so different than Web 2. With a 10th of the audience that we would need in Web 2 or a 100th of the audience, we can actually make this thing work because those individual members are so much more engaged. They're spending more money, they're more time, more of their attention on this, and they're hardcore fans. And so we can make this work in the beginning with a smaller number of people. And I think even luxury brands make a lot of their profit off for a few people. And I don't think it's a coincidence they've jumped into Web3. These 200-year-old French brands are embracing an NFT because I think they also understand their community and how important that community is.
Yep.
And it looks like you're seeing the same thing with what you're doing there.
Yes.
What is a mobile MOBA game for people that don't know? And why make that specific game?
Mm-hmm. MOBA stands for Multiplayer Online Battle Arena. It morphed from the traditional real-time strategy game into a tower defense game. I would say Dota is one of the first games in this genre, which defined the genre. And then League of Legends became the biggest game within this genre. So mobile MOBA game, the objective is to destroy the other side's castle by, and then in the middle you need to chime through their like towers, kill their minions, kill other side's champions in order to achieve that. So that's the game concept. It is by far one of the best genres for free-to-play gaming. It is by far one of the genres that can, in fact, there's only 2 genres that can get so much audience because of virality. First-person shooting and MOBA. In my experience, from League of Legends days, from Wild Rift days, is in the MOBA space. So I know this is the genre for me. This is the genre I know extremely well. And this is the genre that I am passionate about, I am addicted to. That you can see by now that I work for passion. I work because I love what I'm doing every day. So I need to do something that's fun for myself. And MOBA, that's it. In fact, there's a small side story. I was one of the people who pushed Riot to have Wild Rift as a title, League of Legends on mobile. We started the push in 2016. Finally got the project approved in 2017. And then we were running, the China team was actually running that project in collaboration with Tencent, our parent company. And my vision at that time is to make shorter and faster, easier to get into MOBA, just like what I'm making now with Final Salvation. But that vision didn't continue for many, many reasons. But so Wild Rift actually became a harder version than the competing titles like MLBB, like Honor of Kings in the market. But I think that vision works. A mobile MOBA tailored to people who's never played MOBA before. I really believe in that vision. So 9 years after my original vision, I realized that this is time for me to realize that vision with my own hands. With the entire support of the Web3 community, I can make that happen.
Wow. Do you get a different type of user on a MOBA than a first-person shooter? I bet you do. And does it, obviously that user and that community probably gels with you and your personality more.
How do you get out of a rat race? How do you create wealth not only for yourself, but also for the generations to come after?
I am absolutely amazed with the quality of companies that we're getting exposure to.
We go on to Zoom calls with the innovators and the folks who are building new applications in metaverse, blockchain, artificial intelligence, decentralized finance.
What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me.
We are focusing on early stage investment.
And the quality of people that we're getting exposure to, whether it be Dan Tapiero with 1RT, Jason Ma from Open, Yatsu from Animoca.
It's been a phenomenal experience thus far. It has far exceeded my expectations.
We are focusing on cutting edge technologies.
I view it now as the best investment I've ever made. The upside, I view, is unlimited.
And as a retail investor, I would never get this exposure anywhere else outside of Investment Club.
See you in the investment club.
What is the difference between those two?
First of all, they are both highly competitive genres. So these are the best genres for esports. I would say overall, FPS, it requires more hand-eye coordination. It is more about that instantaneous response versus MOBA is a lot more strategic. MOBA essentially, you are playing as one team. FPS, there's many games that play as a team as well. But the amount of teamwork that's needed in MOBA, the amount of coordination, the amount of strategy, that's what, let's say, makes MOBA special in the competitive scene versus FPS. It's more about the hand-eye coordination. It's more about being super accurate with your shots. But they are similar genres in the end, where there are medium core to hardcore genres in the competitive esport gaming space. So there is a lot of overlap in the audience, although there's also many differences.
Now there's something that makes you extremely different from anybody I've ever spoken to. And when you came and originally spoke to our group, this really stood out because you could make a mobile, but a lot of the Web3 gaming efforts are going after that high value customer, that high income customer that lives in the G7 or the G20 nations. But you from the get-go said, I want this to run on the cheapest Android phone with the smallest processor. I want to go after the people in Africa. I want to go after the people in India. I want to go after the people in the smaller Asian nations. And I want to bring this to the masses. Why make that choice?
Very good question. First of all, I decided to make a mobile MOBA, and that was the origin of it. And then if you look at the competitive landscape of the mobile MOBA genre, there's 4 big titles. They're huge in China, CIS regions a little bit, Southeast Asia, some in Latin America. But actually, mobile MOBAs has not been successful in US, Europe, Japan, Korea, or all the nascent emerging market. So I have 2 choices. I can fight with the Goliaths in these very, very top value markets, which is very difficult. And then I'll need to really use Web3 to earn as our main driver for us to succeed there. But I personally just don't really believe in play to earn. I believe that play to earn will, no matter how you play it, unless you can make this flying wheel effect go so fast, you'll eventually go into a death spiral. And I think what fits me better is to tackle the other side of the spectrum, which is all the nascent emerging market. I realized that no one goes to these markets because they're not profitable. But they're not profitable for a reason, right? And I realized that Web3 is the perfect solution for that profitability problem. Higher ARPU, lower customer acquisition costs, and we get layer 1 support for us to acquire users there. That means that it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for us to tap into those markets. India, South Asia, Middle East, Africa, 3.5 billion population there, 2.5 billion phones. And no one, very, very few people design games for these guys. And I realized that I can be that game changer. And if there's no Web3, I don't think anyone can be profitable there for the next 5 years. But with Web3, I realized that It gives me a once in a lifetime opportunity to be there and be profitable. And that's why I decided to be that game changer. I want to be the first mover that can really change people's lives. That can, and I don't need to fight with competitors right now because there's no competition. And I realized that that's the golden formula that I really think I found. Even now, I've preached this for 3 years. I've not seen many other studios do the same thing. I'm like, the lone believer, or not completely, but I'm one of the few believers in this thesis. But there's so many people that I've talked to, including you, that believe in this thesis, that believes in me. And I'm sure there's going to be more people in the community that believes the same thing. So let's try to make it happen together. Let's try to leverage Web3 to make these nascent emerging markets, give them a great game to play. Let them have fun and bring Web2 gaming and Web3 gaming together and make Web3 gaming mainstream.
Can you talk about the regions you're going after and what that rough roadmap looks like?
Yes, we actually literally just launched in our first region, India. We plan to be in India, cultivate, make sure that we can operate at scale for the next 6 months or so. Then second half of this year, we're going to go into our second wave markets. The rest of South Asia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Middle East, Africa. So by end of this year, hopefully we'll be able to cover this entire region. There will also be opportunistic market that we want to capture. For example, where I'm originally from, Taiwan, that I think there's huge potential. So we'll be covering that within this year. 2026 is the year where final salvation can go to US, Europe, Japan, Korea, the rest of the uncompeted markets. Hopefully we'll have such big scale and commercial success by that time, we can fight with the big boys. But for this year, it's about India first, then the rest of my target regions.
And what about Southeast Asia, the Indonesias and the Philippines and those type of countries? Where are they in the roadmap?
They're further away because I have a very, very strong competitor incumbent called Mobile Legend Bang Bang, MLBB, in those markets. MOBA and all MOBAs are similar. Free-to-play genres tend to have the effect where the stronger remain strong. So for us to beat an incumbent is extremely hard. That's why we deprioritize those markets with very strong incumbents, because we think that fighting against them is too costly. We want to go to markets that they haven't been to first.
Smart. I think it was Dirty Harry that once said, a man has to know his limitations.
Exactly.
Right? So you want to...
Startup owners know that best.
Right. Go somewhere where there isn't a market, and then you can own that market first.
Exactly.
And then you are planning on going to these G7 and G20 countries.
Yes.
So you do plan to go to the US and Europe. You first want to get market share, get the users, proof of concept, et cetera, but then you will go there.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, to play devil's advocate, people say, Johnson, there's no money in these things. These people don't have large incomes. So how can you build a profitable ecosystem in Africa, in India? How do you reply?
From a few angles. First, this is a very special genre where it actually doesn't rely heavily on paid user acquisition. For most of the gaming genres, go to Google, go to iOS, spend your money to buy the users is by far the most common way to acquire users. Free-to-play genres, that's competitive, that's more fun for friends to play together. So for example, FPS, for example, MOBA, is one of the lone exceptions for that. It can go viral. So if you have a very fun game that's free to play and your friends are playing it, you're going to play it too. So that's the power that we're counting on. That once we get to critical mass and we have core group of players that's playing it, they're going to tell their friends to all play together. And my customer acquisition cost can go very, very low. That's the first part of the formula. The second part of the formula is also how to make my ARPU higher. And it's by selling emotional attachment. For these games, for games like League of Legends or Final Salvation, we are not selling power. Most games earn money by selling power. You pay more, you do better in the game, you're stronger. But that formula will then eventually kick out all the non-paying users because they don't think it's fair. So we don't do that. We sell aesthetics, we sell skins. It's like selling clothing. But why do you want to buy clothing for money? If you're playing the game by yourself, you don't care. But now you have friends who play together. They're looking at you in the game. It's like I'm walking on the street. I want to look nice. I'm talking to Brian Rose today and I put on my suit. You want to look good in front of people you care about. And that's the magic of mobile games. A lot of people play it. Your friends are playing it. Your girlfriend may be playing it. And then you want to look good in front of them. Now, using clothing as example, what Web3 does to it is enables for infinite personalization of skins, as well as verifiably unique and rare skins. So now, the clothing that I'm wearing, it goes from traditional studio-made clothing that is factory-made to now that it can be made by anyone with fandom. It can be made by any tailor-made for you. And it's verifiably that there's only one cloth like that in the world. You can sell for a lot more because of that. Now we're not just selling clothing. Clothing is cotton, priced with labor, then charge a premium. What we're selling is emotional attachment. What we're selling now is people's emotional attachment to how unique this can be to the whoever created the skin. Infinite personalization is only possible with Web3. And that's why we think that this is such a powerful formula to allow for creators to create their own skin, their own unique assets, and use it as a way to really improve the ARPU for the game developers. So with increased ARPU, lower customer acquisition costs, plus a lot of support from our layer one partner, Sui, we realized that this really will become the game changer.
All right, so you're going to create this vast marketplace with all these people that are interested. There's going to be all sorts of goods and services exchanges that'll probably be on your platform, and everyone can personalize it infinitely. And then when you do bring those G20 countries on, and you bring those incomes on, that means later in the years, that could also bring another wave of revenue.
Exactly. So these guys will have higher tendency to pay, but then, even if the game is not available to them yet, they still have collection value. I mean, I love to use the example. I can hire one of the most expensive, most famous esport players. Let's say in the League of Legends space is Faker. Not saying he'll allow me to hire him, but if I hire him to play like 10 games, he's so good, he's going to make a triple kill or a 3v3 game. So we can now make his first triple kill. He can make a skin out of it. And then it becomes his first triple kill. It's the equivalent of Michael Jordan's first made shot in NBA. The basketball is worth $15, but it's because of Michael Jordan that it's worth so much, right? So what we are doing is letting anyone with fandom to optimize the value for the goods because of that emotional attachment. And that's not limited to India, right? Faker's going to have fans globally. They know the event, the game will eventually be launched there, so they can already participate in this economy early on too. But yes, when we launch in these G7 countries, we think that it will do extremely well.
Excellent. Let's talk about Sui and your layer one partner. I started hearing about Sui when I started coming to Dubai 2 years ago, year and a half ago, mainly from GAF Capital, and that's run by Sheikh Mualla over there. And he's been championing the Sui ecosystem for a long time inside their venture capital firm, which I think is the very first wholly Emirati-owned VC firm in Web3 ever, I believe. And I remember hearing the name, and at the time, they were one of many layer one blockchains. We didn't know much about them, but I got to meet the founders when I was here last time, about 6 months ago, and I was extremely impressed. I mean, these guys were, basically sitting next to Zuckerberg at Facebook. They know their tech like the back of their hand. And when I had some quiet conversations with them, they said, Brian, our tech is far superior to anything out there. And when they actually see what's happening, this is going to blow up. Literally, over the last 6 months since I talked to them, Sui has gone to become now, I think, the 12th biggest crypto out there. And now everyone's talking about Sui. It's massively increased, and some people say it's still getting warmed up. It's got incredible speed. People call it the Solana for institutions. I don't know if that's right. Maybe it is. I'm going to have probably both founders here on the show to go deeper. But can you talk a little more about why you chose Sui, why it was the best for what you're doing, and how the Sui network itself can help you expand your business?
Yep. I chose Sui 1.5 years ago. At that time, it was a bear market. So we didn't have too many choices. We were looking for protocols, layer ones or layer twos, that's highly aligned with us in terms of our vision, that had good tech and can really work with us, support us in the long run. And it's almost like a marriage. We started with Sui. It wasn't even an exclusive arrangement at that time. And then we started working with them and realized that, wow, the tech is extremely strong, as you said. It's very tailored to our audience, which is Web2 audience getting into Web3. It's very painless, very fast transaction speed, really focused on the players and really customer driven. So we have any request, we can work together with them. We think we need to solve a problem for our players, they're on it. They'll fix it together with us. Really love their attitude. Vision, I think they're super long-term driven. That's why you don't hear about them so much in the market, but they're just working on their tech, their product. And they know that with that, eventually they'll get there with a lot of followers, a lot of people believing them. And we have super long-term vision that's very aligned. Make Web3 mainstream. Another reason. Next, the team. It is a super passionate and very capable team. I started my Web3 journey working with many other chains. I have spent significant amount of time with 3 other chains, dabble with them. And there's no other team like Sui. They're just capability-wise, willingness, passion level, they're just up there. So I've had only great things to say in my 1.5 years of collaboration with Sui. And because we're so close with them, we are now building a product, E4C Ludus, our gaming platform, in collaboration with them because we think that they're such great partners. So that's the first and second part of the question. Going forward, they'll continue to be our partner. We continue to hope that they're our only partner. We want to build an ecosystem that can really scale. And we think that going multi-chain, there's so many problems that I need to solve, right? So many security problems. I want to focus on building my game and my community and not worry about the tech behind it. So Sui's that perfect solution. So my goal is to continue to work with them and make Web3 gaming mainstream together with them. We'll have many other exciting things coming up. So stay tuned.
Well, let's go a little deeper on that because you're building a game, a mobile game. It's probably one of the most demanding products for any layer one, and some people put their games on Solana, and Solana's amazing. And Solana's had some downtime issues. It's had a lot of other issues. Other networks are just so slow and so expensive, they can't do games. I know some games that have used AVAX and, this and that, but you're asking a lot out of Sui to be able to deliver everything you want, and you want to scale this to billions of users eventually. I can't imagine the number of transactions per second you're going to be doing. It's a lot, but from what I hear, Sui can deliver that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. First of all, we only put our assets on chain. So our skins, our gems, our avatars, those things are on chain. But the game itself is still run on centralized servers to make sure we have good performance. So that's what we're doing. But yes, even for the on-chain part, right, the demand is high. Think about it. You need to upgrade your skin. You need to put gems on it for special effects. You need to be trading it. Once you buy, you want to use it immediately. We need a chain that's very high performing. And you're right, Sui, for us, is that one.
And gamers don't want to wait, do they?
No, for sure they don't.
They want it now. It's funny, Google did this study like 10, 20 years ago when they started the browser. And, they were always making their browser super fast. And I remember in the early days of Google, it would tell you how many microseconds it took. And I remember looking at that like, why do I care if it's 0.01 microseconds or 0.04? But they found that the longer latency time, people would give the feedback that it was not a good browser, or they didn't like using it, or the results weren't as good. Even though the results were the same, but when they came faster, people had a whole different experience. And so it's super important for you to deliver that speed.
I completely agree.
What is next on the roadmap from a game perspective? Because like you said, it's got to be fun to play, right? Now, I hosted a panel 2 years ago. I think it was at the Future Blockchain Summit, which at that point was being held with GITEX downtown. And I was up there with a couple gaming people, and there was a guy up there from kind of Web2 gaming, and he just decided to ruin the party. And he came out and said, all Web3 games suck. They're not fun to play. The guys got the play to earn. You got the na-na-na. No one cares unless it's fun. And everyone went silent. And I later told Yad of Animoca Brands, and he was like, I wish I would have been there because I would have told him. But you stressed that about 3 times so far in this conversation. It's got to be fun to play. And it can't be play to earn because that ultimately sets it up for failure. How do you keep a game fun? And what are the plans of the evolution of that game for this year?
Yep. So we are, just like League of Legends, we are a game as a service. So we'll continue to upgrade our game. More champions, more skins, balance changes, making the game more fun. So that's what we continue to do on one hand. What we also want to do is we want to optimize the experience for our players with more and more diverse experience. So right now we only have normal mode. We're going to have ranked mode very soon. We'll have more and more, let's say, different modes for people to play in. That's another part. But essentially, it's about the way we want to operate Final Salvation is not too different from League of Legends. It is about just listening to players' feedback, improving on the game, making changes that makes it exciting for people, building an esports scene around it so that we can capture people's common emotional attachment, and then making the magic happen because everyone loves playing it. And we just need to focus on the fun of it. Focus on that core thing that makes your adrenaline make your adrenaline flow, because that's what matters at the end of the day. It's not for gamers, for most of the gamers around the world, it's not about earning money. It's about having fun. It's about doing things that you love. And that's what we want to capture. We want the gamers to have fun.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.